Alright, gents. So next I'm going to be just getting the stand out of the way. Engine is in now, completely bolted in, so that should be the last time that it's going to be put back into the truck. I still have to get the load leveler off of the engine, then I can start putting the intake and stuff back on and start working on wiring. I think I'm going to put the transmission cooler lines on first. So let's get started on that. Cool thing, somebody just contacted me from Craigslist, and he's on his way over to buy the engine out of this truck. So we settled on $200 for the engine. I think that's pretty fair, and that brings my total cost now for the whole swap down to $973 with all the stuff that I sold. I sold a couple other things. So engine, transmission, all the other goodies, and I've been including even the fittings and all the stuff, little stuff I've been buying, and subtracting the stuff that I sold. So that brings my total cost down to $973. So I'm under $1,000 and still have a couple more things to sell. I didn't get as much as I wanted to for everything. Of course, that's going to happen, but plus I sold the transmission the other day for $50. So thought that was a pretty good deal for that kid. So let's get this thing out of the way and let's get started. So I'm gonna try to clean this gasket seal position off. So these ones I cleaned off a little bit already. These are what they looked like before. Then I think I'm gonna pull this off and just try to soak it or something, because it's pretty nasty, and then probably try to clean this thing up maybe a little bit. Nice booger in there. See what I can do with that, get that cleaned up and test fit it. They're all cleaned up, so I soaked them for like 2 days. This is the second day. I used some dish soap and degreaser and got them a little bit cleaned up, so they should work a little bit better. Also got some bolts for the fuel rail, and got this all bolted down now, so this thing's pretty much ready to go on. I might dust it off a little bit more, but these fittings are ready to go. Just got to tighten this up, and I did test this. This bolts right onto the fuel line, so that's perfect. And here was soak number 1. This is I left it here in the first night. This is just the stuff that was sitting in there. And then this is the second day. You can see all that junk in there. Just dump it out on the patio once and see what it looks like. Yeah, so that's all the stuff that was just on the gaskets. All that junk. That's quite a bit of crap. So glad I got that all cleaned up. Now they're ready to get thrown on. So we'll throw these things on there. I wouldn't say they're even really close to clean, but they're a little bit, they're a lot better, because there was a lot of stuff build up in between, so I probably wouldn't have even got a good seal if I tried. So I'll throw these back on. They'll go on pretty easy. And you just sit there like that. Got a little dirty from the workbench. This thing probably really needs to be gone through and cleaned, but I guess we'll wing it and see how good a luck we have. There's just a couple clips on there. Clip them right on. Good to go. Alright, I'll try to get a good angle on this. You can see this is a cooler line. Here's another cooler line here. What I want to do is cut this one, and I want to cut this one. I'm using a little tubing cutter. Here my kid's trying to be sneaky over there. These tubing cutters are actually pretty cool. Little ones. When they work properly. Sometimes they get a little bit offset and then they want to almost make threads on it instead of just cutting it. This one seems like it's working pretty good. Oh, I'm through it. Alright, there we go. Just takes a little bit. A little blade inside there, and you just tighten it down and go around and around, and then it that little blade in there just presses into the tubing as you spin it around, and then it makes a nice smooth cut on there. So now this one I'm going to plumb right to here, and this one up top I'm going to go right from here to here. And I'll do the same thing on this guy. You just kind of go around. It makes a nice slit in it, and then you tighten it every time you go around, and then it just pops it right off. It's not too bad. Alright, so now I have this hose. Just going to kind of mark the length that I want. Overlap them quite a bit. I don't think I'm going to flare the tubing. It should be okay without it being flared. Cut the hose to the length that I want. Take some of these hose clamps. I already kind of pre-fit those clamps to the size that I want. Basically the hose, the hard line is actually inside the hose, probably 4 inches at least. So now I'll just go ahead and tighten these down. Probably do one on the end. You can see I got this pretty close to the end of the hard line. And I'll do one on the end again, right here around this bend. This is actually transmission oil cooler line, so it's kind of, it's rated for this. I'm just, only concern I would have is if it's gonna slip off without having like a barb on that hose, but put that one over, put the hose clamps on, and it should be done. I started to work on the intake manifold a little bit, and the intake manifold gaskets are pretty dirty, so I took them off. I'll go ahead and throw the intake on. I'll do my best. To throw it on. Crawl right inside here. I did do a little test fit once, and it worked wonderfully, but I had the knock sensor wire kind of in the way the first time. Alright, so this, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so I got all 4 corners threaded now. Yeah, okay, all of them except for one are threaded now. It's not all the way tightened down yet, but that's how it's gonna go. But I do actually have room back there. There's probably about, I don't know, maybe 3/8 of an inch, and then I got a little bit in the back, so it should be enough to give me a little shimmy. But there it is. First shot of it with the intake on. It does stand up kind of high. If I take that evap purge solenoid off and plug that thing, then it'd be perfect. I'm not going to use this, so I might just chop it off or plug it up. But better shot of it with the light coming from the back side instead of the front. So, and I think I got plenty of room there. It's tight, but I think there's more than enough. Intake is on. It's looking good, and I got the computer back. So this came back yesterday. Now I just got to start hooking up the wire harness, finish up the couple bits and pieces of wiring that I need to do. I will have to unloom some of the factory wiring, so that'll take a little bit, but the wiring is basically the last step that I have besides filling fluids to get it running. So next step with the drive shaft deal is pull the drive shaft out of the old truck. Need to get a front slip yoke that's going to fit into the transmission. That'll be like 50 or 60 bucks. Ranger has a 1330 U-joint, and the slip yoke that I found with the 1330 is about a ½ inch shorter than I want, which it would still work. I just want to get one that's a little bit longer because it'll make me feel better. You know, bigger, longer, like ½ an inch would make me feel a lot better about things. But anyways, I did find a company that sells the right length slip yoke that I want with a 1350 U-joint. So I did ask them if they offer that package with the like a 1330 to 1350 U-joint. And I'm waiting on a response from them. If they don't respond, then I'm just going to get the other one and use the 1330 U-joint from the truck. And that'll be like the last thing I need to really get it driving, besides the shifter linkage. So we're getting close. Have a good one.